How can you not make content if it's going to help people? You are literally making people grow slower by not sharing it. Oh, jerk. So we should talk about this, what we're going for. My goal is at Ely today with inspiration and confidence. That's the goal. That's everything we do at the Knowledge Gap is we bridge knowledge gaps, help build confidence, help you think bigger. And you'll have some direct applications to how to run your businesses better. So here's the three things, if you're taking notes, on why businesses fail. Now, I believe that you can, anything to do with leadership, systems, anything whatsoever, you can go back to these three things. If there's an unclear mission, purpose, like a why, if there's self-doubt, like you don't believe that you can accomplish, or like what I call how, and unrealistic expectations, the what you end up doing, the actual steps. Doesn't matter if you're a $1 billion company. Doesn't matter if you're a $0 company and you're a startup. If you think of any business you don't like, it's probably because their mission and purpose is not aligned at the end of the day, or it's not people focused, it's fiscal focused a lot of times, right? Fiscally focused businesses make a lot of money, but often they leave the people that make them their money on the edge of, nowhere, a cliff maybe, right? Self-doubt. So the size of a business is determined based on your confidence in a lot of ways. And while that may sound daunting, wow, what if your confidence isn't good? It doesn't matter. You grow the confidence. How do you grow the confidence? You get out of your comfort zone, you mess up. And you literally, what you want to do is you want to play out the worst case scenarios in real life. Like, go have it happen, and you'll still live. And what you'll realize is fear is a liar. It's just in your head, and it doesn't matter. And when you make the mistake, it's not as bad as you thought it was, because we are our own worst critics, which is all about that chapter, if you haven't read it, The Cynic Within. That's probably my favorite chapter, right? It's that guy. It's that little, that little voice whispering in your ear to do the wrong thing, do the selfish thing, to do the thing that's, man, really what would feel good, but really not as the best choice, right? For example. Okay, that's the self-doubt. Then you build the habit of the negative choices. And then the unrealistic expectations is you just, again, expecting things to be easy. I'm going to do a couple videos today when we get back to the office on, there's this ad by this company, Busy. And Busy is this, like, they file paperwork so you can form an LLC. That's like their whole role. So you get on there, you make an account, pay a couple $100, whatever. They give you your LLC papers and whatever else you want to have, your tax stuff in order, blah, blah, blah. Right? Does that make sense? And they do these ads, they're like, starting a business is so easy. All you have to do is get busy, or whatever. And it's like kind of a nice play on words and fun, but like it's a total lie. Anybody can get a name, you're right, but very few people have the willpower. Not the talent, not the skill. Most people can figure those things out. The willpower to push through the growth curve, which is chapter 15 of the book, right? I just hate marketing like that because it's nonsense. You're getting people to spend money and not have a plan. It'd be better to have a plan than buy the business name, in my opinion, right? Have a reason, an irrefutable passion to push through to make the business work first, right? And if they were doing stuff like that, I would talk about that. But I'm going to talk about how that's ridiculous marketing, and you should not buy into that, and you should look into more of what actually makes a business successful. Now, a business can be as simple as, here's what you need, here's what you want, I'll get it for you, transactional, all that kind of stuff, that's fine. Businesses really aren't that crazy. There's a million lawn mowing businesses, right? You can start them if you're hungry and you're willing to work hard. But I think, again, marketing where it's not going to be hard is unclear expectations. But I think that gets people in a lot of trouble when they start real estate or any other business, mind you. These are the chapters and the parts of the book. Purpose is all throughout the book. At the end of the day, it's one of the main themes. These three concepts are essentially the main themes. If you go back to why you're doing what you're doing, which is like chapter 2, it's like why we need you to reach your potential. There's just a ton of people in the world who have very little hope, and they have very little skills, and they have very little access to anything. So sometimes just knowing somebody, right? Just knowing somebody can get you that big break that we just talked about, right? That person, so on the growth curve, if you think about just meeting that right person, people don't have that. But my point is that you could be that, right? You could be that person to those people if you just care. And if your purpose is aligned and not just fiscally, how rich can I get? Which I think is, great. If you become wealthy, there's nothing wrong with that, right? If you use the wealth in a good way, in my opinion, right? And I think in the very beginning of the book, I talk about cigarette companies. I don't know if you've ever read that. Lori's read that, Jessica over there. It's like, what's your definition of success and purpose, and what's the mission? And again, if it's killing people, harming people, then you're kind of missing the whole point, right? Why are you wasting your life doing something like that? That is a question. And that whole first preface, intro, chapter 1 and 2, is designed to challenge you. It's designed to kind of hurt a little bit. I actually had another talk just like this, and she'd only read chapter like 3 up to that point. She was getting a lot of value out of it, but I remember her being like, man, that really, like, I was just really riled up by chapters 1, 2, you know, all these things. And it was like, yeah, that's kind of the point. Sometimes you need a little pain, right? A little, what I jokingly say, like a little kick in the teeth, to know that you maybe aren't aligned with what you really care about. And sometimes you just need that to be really clear. And I think that's probably why I'm good at consulting. I'm really just brutally honest. I deliver it well. I at least try to. But that's why people hire me, you know, because it's like, hey, here's all the things, and I'm not gonna tell you what you want to hear, right? And that's that mission. You know, I think a lot of people miss this, and they need it. When you have a clear mission, vision, values, purpose for your business, your life, okay, it's a solution to all the problems you hear all the time, especially if you're a leader. Frisco, right?
With the B.
With the Bisco.
Briscoe. Yep.
With the Bisco is what I said. Isn't that funny? Briscoe. So I'm so sorry. Brisket, Briscoe. I got it. So whenever you hear it, Briscoe, you probably hear this all the time. I'm not motivated. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever excuse it is, purpose solves that. It's a solution. Existential. Why am I here? Why am I doing this thing? It's like people ask that all the time when they get into something hard. Instead of being like, this is why I'm here. This is what the problems are for, which if you had clear expectations, you'd know the problem would be coming, right? And you would decide way earlier not even to start, probably, if your purpose didn't align with the problems you're going to face, right? Does that make sense? But it solves the existential problem if you have a purpose. It's like, oh, why am I doing this? You're 3 years in. It's like, there's no point in doing something for 3 years, right? And then just saying, I guess my purpose never really aligned. It's like, well, you know, the people who are the best at anything are the people who just stick it out the longest, right? Specialized skill for the longest amount of time, right? Solves the differentiation solution. If you're trying to differentiate yourself from anybody else, your purpose is likely not the same. It might be similar. You're going to have some crossroads of people that agree with you, right? But why you do specifically what you do, what you're specifically designed with, strengths and weaknesses, will be different. And if you're trying to differentiate your business, just lead with that. That's the solution. And then the integrity solution, right? So if you have purpose and you're very clear with why you're doing what you're doing, people know they can trust you, right? And those last two are the reasons people will work with you. When you have it, it does all these things for you guys. I think we just hit that right there. So how do you discover purpose? So I think a lot of people ask me this question. It's like, okay, I get that purpose is important, but like, I don't know why I'm here. People hear that. I hear that a ton. It doesn't matter what age you are either. I've got 60-year-olds that come in asking me like, I ask them a question like, hey, why do you do the business? Like, what's the reason behind it? And they're like, and there's like nothing. Something to do with money, family, I guess. You know, it's like, family's a great motivator, right? But we want to have a higher calling. We want to have a higher mission. The reason Apple does so well is because their whole mission and vision is all about pushing the boundaries of technology, right? And that's invigorating to people. Like, innovation is something we can all get on board with, at least most people. So when you have this, it's so valuable. And so the way you do it is be do have. Did anybody get to the be do have portion? Be do have, yes? Okay, so it's on the workbook there. If you've never done a be do have list, I very much encourage you to do that worksheet. Did anybody actually do it?
Yeah, sort of not like I could have done more with it.
Yeah, that's awesome that you did it.
You know, like detailed. So the basic be do have. I think that was our last meeting we talked about be do have.
Awesome, you guys talked about this. This is lovely. Once you do a be do have, there's no going back. It's like your flag in the sand. It's like, here's who I want to be, this is the legacy I want to have. And this is now your litmus test for every decision you make in life. And I believe that once you have a predetermined direction, decisions become very simple. Does this, if I want to be an honest person, you just ask yourself, is this me being honest or not? And if it is, you do it, and if it's not, you don't. And then all decisions line up, and the legacy you leave, and the impact you leave on people, or how you treat people in your business. Maybe there's something that someone said, and it's like, oh, I didn't know that. You're like, wow, okay, well, my integrity is honesty. That's all I care about. So how do I build my business to get information and disclosures to people as fast as humanly possible, right? Whatever that may be with NAR, insert thing. That's your B's. When you have your do's, you're like, okay, I'm going to accomplish these things in my life because they align with your B's, right? Whatever that is. Maybe one of your B's is to be transformational or impactful in some way. Your do's have to align with your 10 B's or you don't do them. They're not worth it. They're a distraction. One of mine's write 5 books because one of mine's to be an impactful and encouraging person. Okay, well, if I really want to maximize being impactful and encouraging, I don't see how I can't write books. I feel like that would disagree with what I'm going for, at least with the strengths that I have. Some other people, maybe they go speak more, maybe they get on Twitter, I don't know. There's different mediums to accomplish the same goal, but that for me was like, well, I've gotten so much from books. That's why we do the YouTube content and all that kind of stuff. We don't care how many people watch at the end of the day. It is designed in a way that we get entrepreneurs to watch, which helps us get clients. But also it's just like, we want it out there for people to grow, right? So I go do the uncomfortable YouTube thing, which for a lot of people is like terrifying. At the beginning it was. I sucked at it. I was like, God, I didn't want to do it for like a year, you know? And then I had a friend who just said, do you say things that help people? How can you not make content if it's going to help people? You are literally making people grow slower by not sharing it. I was, oh, jerk. But that's the mission vision, right? That's that BD you have. It's that impact that pushes us to do the hard thing. The second thing you can do is write out your mission, vision, values for your business. Who has mission, vision, values written out for their business? Very detailed, very clear. Elizabeth, you have it? You're not along? Do you have this written out?
Not written out, but something that, I mean, when I got into real estate in the first place, I knew it was crazy time to do it, but it's something I'd had my eyes on ever since I was at home with the kids.
Yeah.
So it was time to do it, and instead I got leukemia, but yeah, I had a miraculous stem cell transplant, and then I recovered and said, okay, God, is this still what I'm gonna do? And I went forward with, because it always been a goal.
Whoa. Wow.
And now I want a different house than the one I live in, and so I am working toward that.
Sure, absolutely. And that's like a have goal, right?
Because I have grandkids.
That's right.
And I want a larger open floor plan, and I'm after that
Yeah.
for the family gatherings.
There you go. Absolutely, I love that. So if you don't have this, I would really recommend you guys write this down, mission, vision, values. I can email everybody like a little template to get started on it. But I kid you not, if you have a mission, vision, values, everything with your business becomes very simple, streamlined, and you're literally coming back to this. Does this align? And you communicate it with every person you talk to, and you're going to see this excitement to work with you, because nobody else does it. Nobody else does it. Nobody else does it because they're not in it for the reasons you're probably in it, which is why you're sitting here. So mission, vision, values, all you do is you write out mission, a statement of what you're accomplishing with people. So knowledge gaps to inspire people, Everything we do is to inspire people, to do what inspires them by, right, how you're going to do it, right? Why? So what we're trying to accomplish, inspire people, right? By bridging knowledge gaps. Good name. Man, I love the name of the company. Talk about it all the time. It's great. Build confidence, right? And think bigger. Because when we're building scalable systems, better sales processes, all the things, right? That perfectly aligns, so that they can impact or add value to the people around them. And together we make the world a better place. So we just work with businesses that want to help people. And if it's that clear, people are like, oh, sweet, I get it.
This has helped, just the progression from the beginning of the book to the end with me, because of that question of like, what is your purpose?
Yeah.
And I think I had shared with the club that originally it's when we relocated here, not being able to find a job, because it was when that company tanked, 2009, after 2008 and all rolled.
Yes.
But really, it was all related on me not getting a job. And so then I kept talking about real estate because of relocating and having to move here. That really was a purpose. Reading all through this, and like the light bulb went out, it was the purpose of, I had a bad experience in real estate from the times we had moved, and my focus was on doing it better and helping someone avoid a disappointment. It's never going to be absolutely perfect, all the time.
Sure, yeah.
But it's like avoiding a pitfall of just the lack of education, the lack of honesty and transparency, just experience and reputation. So that's kind of what I'm working on through the path of the vision, and the values, and that's like my tagline, and all of this kind of starting to really develop. But this has really been a good stepping stone in bringing all of that together.
Yeah, good. Yes, that's awesome. I love it. So guys, remember, if people are working with you, they're not picking you because you're a real estate agent. They're working with you because they're picking you. And that works for every business. They're really just picking the personality, the culture of the business that they want to work with, unless they can't find anything better. I mean, sometimes we just Google something because we don't know, right? Which again, a good reason to make content. So okay, so mission, vision, values. Mission's what you're doing. Vision's how you want to see the world change regardless of your business, right? Mission's how you impact people regardless if they buy or not. The values are how you treat your team, how you treat people, And again, when those are super clear, people with the same values, same mission, same vision, right, who agree with those things, they will pick you over everybody else. Strength, weaknesses, goal setting. When you have a certain purpose, you can then decide, you can figure out what your strengths are, right? How do I accomplish this? You base that off your strengths. The weaknesses you identify so you can hire people, okay? And when you hire those people, you will 10x your business. It's really seriously that simple. By having 2 assistants, it saves me 100 hours a month of doing the nitty gritty, whatever. Very valuable stuff. These guys are great at it. But it allows me an extra 100 hours to work on revenue, or speak, or write, or make this PowerPoint. I need to be doing that nobody else can. Okay, so those weaknesses help you identify what roles you need to hire. And then the goal setting, when you have clear purpose of where you're trying to end up, you reverse engineer. And you set goals for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years, and break down all the numbers to get there. But you'll find purpose when the focus isn't you. Okay, you'll find purpose when the focus isn't you. I like that, kosu. I should say that's like the Latin phrase, right? Kosu actually means focus. You know what your purpose is. You'll find purpose when the focus isn't you. Okay. All right, self-doubt. So the next limiting factor, right? So if you don't believe in yourself, it's very hard to go up into a business or go shake somebody's hand and say, hey, I'm good at this, right? And sometimes people just need to hear you say, like, I got you. and they'll work with you, right? You got to have the confidence to believe that you can deliver, or the confidence that even if you're not sure you can deliver, that you do whatever it takes to deliver. So self-doubt comes in our brains a lot. It solves the confidence issue, relationships, overthinking. If you read the whole book, one of my favorite parts of the book is where I go through internal, external self-talk, and just in general overthinking. So how we think in the past, future, present at the wrong times. Okay? So first off, internal self-talk is what you say to yourself about yourself in your own head. It's that conversation with your cynic. It's a conversation with the saint. It's all in your head. It's those thoughts that come in. If you do not journal, say things nice about yourself in circles of other people, one of the most disparaging and annoying and frustrating things that bothers me to my core is when people self-deprecate in front of a big group of people. Oh, I'm not good at that, like pick somebody else. You're reinforcing that you don't believe in yourself publicly for a humor of other people. I mean, just think about that for a second. But I've done it too. We all do it sometimes. We feel awkward. It's our knee-jerk reaction, right? But like, think about that, what that's actually doing to you psychologically. And how's that impacting people around you? Is it building anyone's confidence? No, you're telling everybody it's okay to be. It's okay, just tell yourself you're not great. Your internal confidence, it's got to come from something bigger. It's got to, I'm a big Jesus guy. Like, if that's, I don't know, check that guy out, right? That helps. But there's all these little strategies, and you just got to make sure that you're doing something. Like, speak out loud. I think it's on the next slide. Journal. Find good friends who say nice things to you. That's the external, right? So external is now what you feed your brain. No judgment if you're a big, like, screamo death metal person, okay? If you like that, great. I don't know. That would make me so negative. I don't know. And it affects different people, right? But music, the media you watch, how many people just watch the terrible news stations, that you not even sure if it's real, I guess, right?
I think I have to get an alert on my phone.
Yeah.
If something happened, because I wouldn't know. I'm walking around in a bubble.
That's good, be in a bubble a little bit, right?
I mean, I hear when I can do something about something, but I'm not going to dwell on it.
Exactly, right? I think I've got this on the next slide here. So podcasts, whatever you're listening, movies, right? And this goes for all parts of life, not just business, right? If you're trying to grow in a certain way, be a certain way, if you have external stimulus, especially friends, people you spend time with that are negative towards you or leading you down a way that doesn't align with your purpose, I very clearly in the book say you should get away. I think I give a couple strategies that most people know of, but I like putting names to them, like distancing. Just let that one go. You don't have to follow up with that person. When you sell books door to door, you get all sorts of reactions when you knock on someone's door. Most of the time, it was actually really positive because of how you would approach, and you'd be funny, and I'd wear a fanny pack. And it would disarm everybody. Fanny pack, you'd be.
Because you looked harmless.
As it looked harmless. You'll be 10 feet back from the door, like I wasn't right up on it. There are all these little things you could do to sort of disarm and make things chill, relaxed. Show, hey, these are some bunch of family members in your community who bought for me. And they would recognize them usually. And sometimes they would come out there, they'd come out there like a bulldog, and they're just like angry. It's like, whoa, this is insane. And they'd come out there and they'd be mad that you're just existing, and I would just say, I got the wrong house, I'll catch you later. I would not try to sell. I wouldn't even let them know what I'm doing. I would get out of there, drop a card so they knew I wasn't a crook, and I would literally jog to my car. And I would keep a smile on my face because I wasn't allowing that to hurt my attitude. Because no matter how much we say that things don't bother us, they do. You can say, oh, I hang out with that person, you know, like, it's fine. But that's not. It's not. Like, you do internalize the stuff people say. And it does hit you hard. And it does make you feel limited, you know, even though it's not even real, right? Which is also a bunch of the book, right? It's all about how it's all in our heads and how we remember. One of the reasons it really fights you is that we remember negative experiences more than we remember positive ones. And so you're layering negative experiences in your brain all the time. And that's one of the biggest reasons you need to find better friends and have a hierarchy of friendships. If you guys read that chapter, really close people whose opinions you actually do care about. It's so funny. Now, I don't know if y'all do this, but this is what my wife does. When someone's coming over, deep clean. Anybody else?
Oh yeah, that's what my house is. Most clean out of a party.
Right? Have a party dirtied up again?
Yeah, just have a dinner party and it's good.
You know, and I love that she's clean. I don't mind helping at all. But the stress or anxiety it seems to cause on her head is like, to me, that bothers me. It's like, what? You're inviting people over whose opinions you don't even care about, and you're wiping the baseboard in case they look down, which nobody does. And you're spending an hour and a half of your life on it. Multiply that times how many people you have over in your lifetime, and you're talking a significant percentage of time. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
I can't tell you how relieved I was visiting a friend of mine, and she was a lady that just seemed like she was about the same age, kind of almost a mentor. Very wonderful person to know. I was delighted to discover the greasy lint that was on her toaster. It made me feel better.
Yeah. Yes.
That vision of perfection is not in, I couldn't, you know, it's enough that she was an amazing person, but it was just, I was so glad she had greasy lint on her toaster. It did
Yes.
her good.
Yes, 100%. It's the same thing for your business. It's the same for all these different interactions that we have. But we put so much pressure on these opinions of people we may never see again, or they really don't care about that much. You know, now if they're a really close inner circle person, they came over, you probably don't need to clean as much because they probably don't judge you like that. It's so funny how we put so much credence in the judgments of people, and then we also don't want to be a judgmental person, but we care about the judgmental person's opinion. Isn't that hysterical? If we don't want to be like them, why do we care? That helped me get through selling books. 8 hours a week, like 5,000 people a summer. Just not caring. Because I never see them again. I'll never see them again. And if they're judging me, do I really care? Do I really want to even be like that person? Do I want to be like the person who opens the door and they're like, come on and we got dinner? That's the person I want to be. Same thing with my business, okay? You come down to the studio anytime. We do free recording sessions for your first time if you're trying to make content, just to kind of get you out of it, you know, or whatever. And we have free refreshments because we want you to feel good. Like, does that make sense? Like that's the way we run the business. Okay. Okay. So you need positive external influences like that. Avoid the negative stuff, and then your schedule. Okay. So this is. I would encourage. I almost guarantee most people don't do this in this room. Okay. But does anyone have a scheduled time in their week where they have future thinking time, planning, goal setting, every week? Try? I like that you try. All right, you have to try, right, to get started, okay? If you don't have that, you should do that. You should have dedicated time to planning your week that's about to come and think about the future. Otherwise, you're on a hamster wheel. And you never realize there's a jetpack on the floor. Past thinking, reflection time, is healthy. Planning, goal setting, healthy future time. Overthinking, anxiety from the future, what's going to happen, what if time, that's the wrong time. If you dedicate time to thinking about the future, you have less time being anxious. If you plan out what will happen and why, plans don't always work. If you plan out your approach to things, you have less anxiety. Past, if you have reflective time where you dedicate this amount of time in your week to just what went well, what I need to work on. And you limit what you need to work on to one thing. Okay, don't beat yourself up. If 3 things that are good, 1 thing to work on next week. You do that every week, it's a brain dump. Does that make sense? It's like the New Year's resolution every week. And you kind of just let go of last year. Does that make sense? That's what goal setting does. It makes you let go of the past. Okay? So future thinking is to think about future stuff. Past thinking is to reflect and grow. That's healthy. Replaying negative thoughts in your head is unhealthy. If you remember this chapter, it's one of my favorite chapters. Okay? There's unhealthy past thinking. It's like past thinking at the wrong time. Future thinking at the wrong time causes anxiety. Past thinking at the wrong time causes anger at yourself. Self-doubt. And present, right? Plan when you're going to be present. When should we be present with clients? When we need to do admin work. Most of our week should be present. Otherwise, life just flies by. Most of our week should be present. We should have dedicated past time, thinking, and dedicated future time. If you have all three of those things pretty planned, then what you won't find is that you'll be doing your present stuff and be thinking future. That's usually why people struggle with this, because they don't have a dedicated future time to be like, oh, let me write that down to then plan. Every single week, what I do is I have my future stuff I write down when it comes to mind, because it'll come to mind. And I just have a note, and then I have a time, and I organize it all, and I get it all out there, and I plan everything on my calendar. The reason I came up with that is we used to have rookies come out and sell books, or managers, 7-year, 25-year-old selling books door to door, whatever it is, really good people, and they would struggle with this. They would be in the middle of the week where they should be present, thinking about the past week, and the results would go down because they're putting too much pressure on themselves. We have people in the middle of the week thinking about the end of the summer, and they would try less hard and wish they weren't there. But the people who could just be present, they'd sell the most, and they'd do the best. And on Sundays, I would reflect and plan, and I would have my time for both of the other thoughts. But in the middle of the summer is not the time to think about the future. It's to just be present and finish your 12 weeks that you committed to, for example. So when you have a selling season, you decide you're doing it for 12 weeks, not for 1 week. You follow through on your 12, then you plan again, so on and so forth. If you want to grow past self-doubt, you'll do it in order to help others. Okay, so again, if helping others is your focus, your purpose, whatever, you'll figure this stuff out, okay? You'll make yourself do it. All right, last but not least here, I think we're doing good on time. Yes, we're doing good on time. This is great. Okay, unrealistic expectations, right? So when you give clients unrealistic expectations, what happens? They hate you. At least they think they hate you. They hated the expectations, is really what it was. And they may not understand themselves well enough, the cynic within, to realize they didn't ask the questions, which is an extreme ownership topic that we won't go into, right? But if we all need to take ownership for our own things. We don't realize that business or life is going to be as fearful as it is. All the new technologies, AI, trying the new thing, the first time you do a listing, appointment, whatever. There's so much fear involved, and I was actually just in the car. Emmy was asking me if I was nervous. I was like, yeah, I mean, I have that feeling. But I watched a video one time on what adrenaline is. And it's that feeling of nervousness. But adrenaline, what's it do in sports? Makes you perform better. So when I get that feeling, I know I'm going to do well. I've changed my mindset about it. So fear, right? People just misunderstand their hormones, the adrenaline. So when you have realistic expectations and you understand that, then you realize fear is a good thing. It means you're growing. It means you're going to perform at a high level. Fallacies, people think that they're supposed to be good at things in order to start, and that holds them back. It's a solution for that. If you have realistic expectations that you're not going to be good, then you realize you have to work to get better. Burnout. People in longevity are really connected, but people think that they have to go really hard for forever. The reality is you should go really hard for a short period of time because you can only sprint so long before you pass out. If you pass out, that's why people feel burnout. Because they don't have a good schedule. They don't have rest built into their schedule. They don't have reflection. We don't realize that fear limits our capabilities. The only way through fear is action. Once you go through fear, you realize the worst things happen, you'll be okay. The fallacies, again, there's the fallacy of proficiency. I don't know if you guys read that chapter, but it's this idea that we think in order to be confident in anything, we have to already be good. And I believe I go through a bunch of examples of how, if you sing for 10 years, you're going to love singing, maybe because you love singing, but also because you're really good at it and it makes you feel good, right? Because comparatively, I believe comparison is the thief of joy, but that's probably why you feel good. You've always been good, not because you've always been good, because you started earlier. If you spent as much time as somebody else singing, you're probably just as good, bar the top 0.1% of people who are just absolutely naturally talented. That's really how it goes with almost anything. Take any technology. You could learn it if you spend enough time on it. So you don't have to be good. The value or the reason behind doing something is does it help you reach your purpose? And if it clearly helps you get to where you want to go and how you want to impact people, you'll do it. You'll be excited about it. So it's not about being good or bad. It's about, is it worth it? I think people judge themselves good or bad because they have the internal self-talk, and then the external, they're seeing everybody else say, like, oh, I'm not good at that. Like, I don't try. And then we get in our mind to this habit to just not do the things we're not good at. Burnout and longevity, everybody just write this down. Too much, too fast, and rest is good. I think people try to condense, and I think it's a social media thing, or just like these superstar Hollywood people just saying stuff like, oh, this is how I made $1 billion in like 8 years or something. And we sort of have this like, I don't know, this weird reaction to it that, well, we're doing something wrong if we're not doing that. You don't have to replicate what other people do. It like really doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, I don't know if you ever be a billionaire. I hope you do. I mean, that's cool, but whether they do or not is a comparison. and then you try to like implement all of the 25 different things they've been doing for 25 years behind the surface or whatever before the 8-year explosion, like this tip of the iceberg. So don't make your schedule based on the tip of the iceberg, right? You got to figure out where you're at, and you've got to put that schedule together. If you don't know anything about technology, don't do 10 new technologies and create called a tech stack. You guys know what tech stack is? Tech stack is the number of technologies or softwares you need to do your business. And some people try to like add 5, 10, 20 to their tech stack, and they're trying to manage all these logins. And I mean, the login itself is frustrating, right? Instead, you should just pick one thing at a time. One thing at a time. One thing at a time. Baby steps. You may have a grand picture, but break it down into small chunks. Okay? That's too much, too fast. People go too much, too fast, and it causes them to burn out or feel like they're unsuccessful, and they quit. They give up on that growth curve right there. Okay? Last bit here, rest. Okay? Rest is good. You have to have times in your week. Just let go and don't answer your phone at some point. I don't know how long that is for you in your industry. That's up to you. It's a personal decision. But there's just points where you say, you know what? The client ain't worth the family time or something. And it's okay. You often get back with them and you'll realize nothing changed. I don't think you should take a whole day off probably in real estate. But, you know, depending on how you answer your phone at least. But at the end of the day, some people text or call me, and you just got to have some rest periods in your regular week. And you got to have your vacation periods throughout the year at some point. And vacation doesn't mean you got to go extravagant 5-star resort on the beach in Costa Rica for 20 grand. I don't care, you know. But just something where you get away and you dress up like Briscoe over here and go fishing. I don't know. Whatever it is, right? Your body, if you just go, it's like going to the gym every day without eating. And you will burn out. And you will give up. And you'll say, this is stupid. I don't like this lifestyle. And you'll miss out on making a system that works for you. There's so much technology nowadays, for example, right? If you just say, I'm not going to work at certain points, and you figure out a technological solution, you just say, I only work this many hours. I know a lot of people will disagree with this. There's so many entrepreneurs that would totally disagree with this. Again, I don't know what their families are like. I don't know what they do outside of work, but to me it seems like all they do is work. Again, no judgment, but the whole point is, if you condense how many hours you're going to do one thing, this is the time, you'll identify the most important tasks. If you just identify the things you're supposed to offload, and you figure out a solution assistant, a technology, and you say, this has to work, then you'll figure it out. It's only when we never give boundaries that we feel like we're stressed all the time.
I can say something about that.
Yes, go for it.
I do not answer client calls after 7 p.m.
Nice.
I'm pretty family. Now, the only time I will do that is if we have an offer and we get accepted. Yes, I will call
Sure.
and say, hey, if your offer is accepted, I will contact you tomorrow. But celebrate, have a good time.
Yeah,
You know,
that's right.
with, 5-minute conversation.
100%.
Because, I feel I need to.
Sure.
But what I've discovered is if you pre-frame people about that, they will respect that. And if they do call, sometimes I will text them, hey, you can text me if it's urgent, or I'll call you tomorrow. And I've had my clients say, oops, I'm sorry, I didn't notice it was so late. I was letting you know that we signed so-and-so document. Okay, cool, talk to you tomorrow. But you have to pre-frame it, and you have to stick to it. I'll look at my phone, it will ring, and I'll just like, it's after 7. I try my best to do that. Sometimes the lights say 15, I'll answer, but I try really hard at 7.
Yeah.
Really try hard at 7. And then people will respect you for it. And how I do it is okay, if you'll be work after 7, that's fine. I can do that, but you're going to take care of my payment obligations. You're going to have to cook dinner for my husband's grandpa. You're going to have to sweetie for me, clean the house.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do that for me, I'd like to work. But I say that to make it as a joke.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And they probably laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't, because I know some people, I don't want to be the agent that I want to have family time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, after 7, I don't want to show a house in the dark.
Sure.
You're really going to buy it when you can't even see it.
Right.
You're not. Title companies aren't open.
Yeah.
It's very limited what you can do after 7.
100%. And again, I think this goes into unrealistic expectations, right? People get into stuff and they think they have to be available for everybody at the drop of a dime, right? I mean, I guess if you're 25 and you have no other obligations, you could do that, and that's probably an advantage. Maybe someone with less responsibilities has. That's fine. That's okay. You know, that's all right. But I write in my book. There's the law of diminishing. What's the law of diminishing potential? And the concept's less about as you age you become blah blah blah. It's more like no. It doesn't matter. You just become less of a risk taker usually. As you age, because you have responsibilities that kind of hold you back. But I would argue whether you're young or whether you're 75 years old, you can effectively do the same amount of stuff, because when you are 75 years old, you have relationships. When you're 25-year-olds, you have very limited relationships. And at the end of the day, just like, I'm going to get it, I know you're Alamon, is your last name. It'll come to me, Jen. Just like Jen was saying, sometimes it's just that one break, that network, right? You know, that you don't have when you're in your 20s, that allows you to make 6, 7, whatever figures that you end up wanting to make in your business, right? It's literally that simple sometimes. So it doesn't matter. And cutting off at 7, preferencing people totally works.
Section on the goals, like 50 goals. I was like, yes, he's young. And I was like, I don't have 50 goals, but then if you're older and you don't have 50 goals because you've already met maybe 25 or,
sure.
or 30,
yeah.
then you should be able to still cut off, have your family time, and prioritize those. So you're younger, you might have more energy, not married, no children, you know, or other things that your activities are focused on. So then you can focus those hours that you'd normally be doing those other things. So.
Yeah, 100%. And if you had 50 goals and you've done 25, you're on the right track, right? Yeah, you should have some of them checked off. You don't need to make 50 new goals, you know, depending on how much time you spent goal setting. So last couple concepts, guys. We're rolling into the end here. We've kind of hit some of these, but one of the biggest things that people seem to really appreciate about some of my talks is that done's better than perfect. Done's better than perfect. Set up some boundaries. Just make it happen, because your purpose is too big, right? Your purpose is more important. There's a law called Murphy's Law. I can't remember. Is it Murphy's where it expands? Is that the right one? Murphy's, I feel like when something wrong happens, it will. I think that's Murphy's.
Yeah, it's multiple things happen. If one thing happens, it's wrong.
The next, yeah, exactly. There's another, so yeah, that's why done better than perfect, because it's probably not going to be perfect even if you think it is. It's just a waste of 2 hours at that point. But also, like, a task expands the amount allotted. So if you give yourself 2 hours or 10 hours to do something, you'll accomplish the same thing if you just gave yourself 6. So don't worry about the boundaries. You'll figure it out. You'll become more efficient. You say, oh, this is the only time I got. It was a transition for me. I used to work ridiculous hours. Spears growth, guys. Life's good. If you're pursuing helping others, you'll push through everything. Take action, help people.